Hey everybody, Sam here.
And Angela, and welcome back to the channel.
Well, welcome back to the next video of our bedroom renovation we're doing in our 1988 Palm Harbor single-wide mobile home. In this video, we hit a pretty big milestone. Not as big as you're probably thinking, but for us, pretty big.
So in the last video, we left off having a problem with some slop and mess.
Quality control issue.
And so today we are going to pick up and be blocking, do some blocking,
Blocking.
and continue blocking around the perimeter of the room.
We ended the last video out by saying that we weren't happy with the blocking and the work that we were doing, and we called it quits. We have had a little bit of sleep, and we are back in here today with a fresh set of eyes, and we kind of see where we were kind of going the wrong way. So we're going to tear out what we did and do it the right way. Well, forget about that. Some guy put them in really well with ring shank nails, and they're not going anywhere. So we will let this be a lesson that we learn from and improve upon. This will be okay. It's not horrible. It's just not necessarily up to my standard. Alright, so what was causing the issues is the fact that the home's walls are attached through and into the floor with these really long screws. We would normally just drive them out and back them out, but they have been in there so long that we try and drive them out and they don't go anywhere. So what we're going to use is our favorite tool, oscillating cutoff tool, and we're going to go below where the old floor was. Phones are going crazy. Actually, that's orders from people like you. Thank you. We're going to go below where the old floor is and flush cut all the screws, staples, anything else that's down there fighting us to prevent us from getting that blocking up super good, flush, tight and right.
Tight and right.
Tight and right. For our blocking, we are using 2x6s, which are thicker than 2x4s. And that's very logical. The reason we are using 2x6s around the perimeter is so that we don't have to double stack or use more than one board for each area. The cost difference between a 2x4 and a 2x6 is pretty nominal, especially when you consider the added material you may use and the headache overall. For those who may not know, explain exactly what we mean by blocking and how we installed it.
Well, the blocking around the perimeter of the room, you need to, there's like the wall sticking out like this, and you're taking the piece of wood like this and putting it up and under so you can screw through right here to hold this piece of 2x6 up.
So we're attaching it to the floor from the bottom.
Yes.
Or the wall.
And
yes.
So that's, so if you walk around the very outside of the room, you're not going to push any of the plywood or whatever, any of the flooring through because it's going to have support.
Right. The reason we do blocking in a renovation or remodel of this sort is because we don't have the luxury or don't want to do the nightmare job of lifting the walls up off of the joist decking and putting the floor underneath it. When homes are built originally, they are constructed by doing your joist framing, your subfloor or plywood in this case goes on it, and then your wall is framed on top of that. We're not going to lift our walls up on our mobile home. We're not lifting this thing up. So that is the whole reason we're doing blocking, and really why you will see people do blocking with floor renovations and repairs. Not pretty, but it is solid.
We had a question from a viewer asking if we're going to keep the yellow insulation that's underneath the floor.
No. I mean, yes, we are. So let me explain why we're leaving that yellow insulation down below. Mobile homes have what's called an underbelly, which...
It hangs down like a belly.
It does. It consists of a plastic membrane and then insulation laying on top of that. And that is how, okay, 80s models mobile homes are insulated underneath. All of your plumbing, your HVAC, ductwork, some electrical things, and water lines are underneath in that area. They kind of create it as one big bubble space of general heat, and that's how they keep everything from freezing and buttoned up as it flies down the highway to wherever it gets set up. So for us, we are leaving that insulation in place because even though we are insulating the floor from the top, it is going to exclude any water lines. Although we don't have them here in the bedroom, they are in the home. And if we took the insulation out of the bottom, it would create a cold area that could cause problems further down in the house.
Let's not do that.
Yeah. Yep. So it's not pretty. It is kind of yucky, but it does serve a little bit of a purpose, so we're leaving it there.
Before we could put down our plywood, we needed to add our insulation in the floor, which falls to me, and I got to use my new toy.
You have a degree in insulationology. I've gifted it to you.
I pretty much cut them to length and then kind of stuffed them down in there, and they all have little tabs that like come up, or you can lay them flat or whatever. What?
Nothing. I'm watching them. I'm maintaining eye contact. I don't know what else to look at.
So I put up the little ears or whatever, and then you can use your stapler through there. I have to say that the stapler that we got, the electric one, was really nice, and it didn't bother my elbow and wrist, which was great.
I don't know why we never got one before. It's only about $10 more than the manual style, but wow, what a labor saver and nice.
It was.
With our insulation and blocking done, we are ready to go ahead and put down our flooring. In this case, we purchased plywood, not because we are of the mindset plywood is superior to OSB. We think they're all about the same nowadays. We purchased the plywood because it was cheaper than OSB. Lumber prices are insane, so we went with what was still adequate, strong enough, correct, but cheaper. In addition to that, this is not tongue and groove, so that does make the piecemeal installation that we're doing really easy. So there's a chance we'll be doing plywood for any other floor renovations in the home.
And we are doing the same thickness, correct?
Yes, it is all 23/32 of an inch, which most people will call 3/4 inch plywood. As far as placement of the first piece of plywood, we thought ahead to how we think the bedroom will be laid out. And then we thought of where our potential seams would be and decided to put it right here, centered in front of the window, so that we didn't have a seam where we think will be open floor space.
So far, we think that we are going to put the beds on either on the left and right side of the room. Watch it, hun. So the center of the floor will be left open for toys and playing and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. Plus, any kind of irregularities with the seams of the floor should be hidden under a bed. Even though we plan on doing a floating floor on top and all that kind of stuff, the potential for any user error or installation errors will be hidden better, not being front and center.
It is such an accomplishment to get the big piece of plywood down.
Yeah.
Our first piece of new flooring.
It feels great. It feels weird to be able to walk in that area and not be afraid of falling.
Because this is where the floor really dipped in the middle. So it's, wow.
Nice.
So next we are going to do the little wing pieces on either side of it. And then the kind of weird skinny piece that goes in front of the windows.
This should be fun.
I needed a good little shop vac, and this was a good excuse to get one. So we picked up this Vac Master. It's a 2.5 gallon, which seems kind of small, but it has really good power. I wanted something for around the house that's like this, and then also for the cars. But it works really good for what we're doing. So I'm going to go ahead and vacuum up some of the mess, the sawdust mess that's underneath the floor on top of the insulation. Just for my peace of mind. It doesn't have to be done. There's nothing that's going to happen if I don't. I just like knowing that it's been done.
Okay.
What if you flip it?
What
It's got that, well.
What do you mean flip it? Like, maybe I measured them wrong?
Backwards?
It's a 1/2 inch between the two. I'll try it. I might have done it wrong. It's hard to pull up.
No.
Okay, I labeled it wrong. Good idea, huh? I would have banged on that thing forever.
I was wondering if you did it because of that, but since we're putting down the floating floor, that shouldn't matter.
No, it will not matter. This is also going to be at the bed.
Okay.
This house being what it is, I did not take for granted that the pieces I had to cut were going to be square at all. So I measured in several different directions and made myself a little schematic or a treasure map with various measurements and all that. We went out to the trailer outside, cut the plywood with the circular saw, brought it in, and thankfully it fit pretty well. Once we had the larger square-ish pieces done, we could move on to the little pop-out. And that was likewise a little bit of a measurement nightmare. I measured the long side of the trapezoid, the short side, and then my thicknesses, did a little math, and came up with something that was close enough, and then I trimmed it to really fit once we got it here inside the room. Well, we have reached a pretty awesome milestone.
Yay!
I won't say it's halfway done.
No.
Because it's not technically half of the room. But we now have a really awesome wall-to-wall to windows new floor.
This was a harder half of the room, I think, because it has the little pop out with the angles and
math.
Yeah.
There was math all over this
place. So now
place.
it's just rectangles that are left. It should make it easier.
I don't know, you just jinxed us.
So we finished out today by cleaning up the area, kind of sweeping, vacuuming up all the dust. We moved all of our tools and
equipment, accoutrements.
Yes, all on the new floor, so we can now work on the old floor and not have anything in the way.
That sounds like a lot more work, and I think that's going to be something for the next video. We feel accomplished. Hopefully you feel accomplished for us. Please.
Hopefully you're not too sore. Getting up and down on the floor can hurt.
Right. Take some Advil, put your feet up.
Well, thanks for coming along with us as we did some more work today. Leave us a comment. We'd love to read them. And otherwise, we'll see you guys next time in the boys' room.
Bye.
Bye.